Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Breaks Spotlight on Lakerholics weekend. With me is Michael H. from the lovely island of Hawaii. I don't know if the inestimable and inimitable Laker Tom will be joining us today. What's up, Daniel? And El Rob said he might pop by. I don't know. And if, as always, if Mr. Sean Grice is out there and wants to hop on, or Joe or Gerald or anybody, just throw yourself on. I'll throw you on the chat. Wanted to talk about the return of Jarred Vanderbilt. I thought that he was a huge factor last season in us not having a better record, not having a better defensive team. But that's what happens in the NBA. As we just saw, DeJounte Murray just went down with a torn Achilles for the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're ravaged.
Man, they've gotten slammed, man. This
ravaged by injuries this year. It's just one of those things that happens in professional sports. The best laid plans are dictated by your team's health, and our team's health has been decent, I would say, this season. The AD injury, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I kind of wish Sean was here because he's a paramedic, or used to be a paramedic rather, and he has a pretty decent understanding of how the human anatomy works, and I would be curious to get his thoughts on what a abdominal strain could. I mean, I think it could take this week. It could take a month. It could take a while.
Well, according to the latest report, it's a grade 1,
so
which is 7 to 10 days. They expect him back at some point next week.
That's great news. Then that is absolutely fantastic news, because it could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my daughter singing to her heart's content. We're having a wonderful morning in chilly Southern California here.
It's cold here. It's 70.
Well, that's swell. You poor soul. That's actually not. I mean, listen, we're not everywhere else in America who is still in the grips of a Arctic polar vortex. Things that you just better get used to in these modern times, folks. Whether you believe in climate change or not, it's going to affect you. So that's the beautiful thing about life. Mo Bamba got traded earlier today. All right. So anyway, I want to talk about Jarred Vanderbilt. He's still on a minutes restriction. I think they don't want him to play 20 minutes a game, no back-to-backs, as we saw in the loss against Philly, where we came out flat and stayed flat for the entire game. That was just a dud of a game. Nobody had any vim or vigor in that game. And that's the one thing that Vanderbilt brings consistently. I think that every good basketball team has a guy like this, that he might not score 10 points or even 6, but he's everywhere. He's jumping in the passing lanes. He's bothering the best scorer. He's getting offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. He's just fighting in general the entire game. And when you fight, you cause the other team to have to deal with you. And whether you're scoring or not, if you're a fighter, you're impacting the game in a positive way. I think we have 2 guys like that now, although I think Dorian Finney-Smith is probably a better scorer, at least a better shooter than Vando is. And I think that, Vando's still knocking the rest off. He hasn't played in over a year. Before he only played in 12 games, 13 games last season. So it's not like he ever got going last season, because he was hurt before that. And I think a lot of the negative comments I've seen about Vanderbilt are that he's injury prone. And I think that's misleading, because he had surgery on both of his feet. That's not an injury. He hasn't been recovering from an injury. He's been recovering from surgery. And so those are in my opinion, those are 2 very different things. I understand that he hasn't been available, and it's frustrating. And yes, that is true, but let's try to be accurate when we say things about people to the best of our ability in modern America. I know that accuracy these days is not what it used to mean. Basically anything is accurate nowadays, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view on how life is. But I think that having Vanderbilt back gives Coach Redick some really, really important tools in terms of crafting a workable defense in the modern NBA. Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, he's just a energizer, and when you got somebody playing that hard, it's going to pick up everybody else's energy as well, because they think, well, look at that guy. I've got it, So yeah, I think there's nothing I disagree with at all. like I looked at the schedule. I was telling you offline that I could point to maybe 3-4 games that he might have made the difference in, which is substantial when everything's so packed together.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 tiers in the NBA. There's the 30-game winners who I put in the top tier. We're not in that tier yet. There's the 29 to 25 game winners, which are in the second tier. We're in that tier. And then there's 25 and under, and then obviously there's they got no hope tier. The Wizards, the Pelicans at this point, a couple other teams out there. He's even more valuable a defender than Finney Smith, because Finney Smith is really, really good to a point, but Vando goes beyond him because Vando can stay in front of small, quick point guards. Yeah.
Finney Smith can't really do that. We saw him try to guard Maxey. He got in foul trouble. It wasn't a good thing. But you watched the last night game against night before the game against the Wizards. Now they're a bad team. But he was on Jordan Poole, who is as quick as Maxey. He's just not as efficient or good. Yeah, he's not as good. Yeah, he's not a shot maker. He's quick as hell though. Yeah. He's quick as hell. And Vando was in his jersey the whole time he was guarding him. He could not shake him. And that's when you're like 6'9", 6'10", and you can stay in front of a 6'2" guard. That's saying something. It is saying something. So that's where his value is. Even, I mean, people say, well, he could, call him he's not a power forward. He can't bang with the big boys. He's a tweener. He's a three. Yeah, he can guard small ball four. He can guard to me, the position you play is the position you can guard. So he can guard the 1, the 2, and the 3. Some smaller fours, but he's not going to be in there banging. But the thing about it is that he crashes the boards so effectively, and he picks up a lot of rebounds in a short period of time. And that's something we have lacked all season long, And, he's just going to be an all-around plus for this team going forward. I couldn't agree more. And I think that, and listen, we saw – last season in that Boston game, and I think the 3 or 4 games leading up to that Boston game, Vando was hitting the corner 3. He was taking the corner 3. He was hitting the corner 3. He was shooting 4 of them or so a game, and he was hitting 1 to 2. And if you can get that part of his game activated consistently, where he's a 35, 36% three-point shooter. I'm not talking about, he's not going to be a 45. He's not. No. We're not going to see him invited to the three-point shot. Let's be realistic here. But 35% is enough to keep your man close. 35% keeps your man from sagging off. And so that's what he has to hit. So if he can hit that corner 3 at a 35-ish% rate, plus everything else he brings, and get his hops, you can tell when he tries to dunk, his legs are still not there. He's going to take about a week or 2 weeks to work himself back into real game shape. And then you'll see another level from him, I think. And that's just all gravy, right? All the scoring when it comes to Jarred Vanderbilt is the gravy. It's like, when Lamar used to score, right? Lamar Odom will forever be one of those guys who people are like, he could have scored 20 points a game. But that wasn't who Lamar was up here. Yeah. Lamar was, I'll get this rebound, I'll get the ball down, I'll do this nifty pass to the guy in the corner. You shoot the ball, and I'm going to go like this on the way down the court. Hey, here's El Rob. Hold on a sec. Let's get El Rob in here. Good morning, El Rob. That is a dope hat, my friend. That is a super. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. We're talking about none other than the Vandalorian, Jarred Vanderbilt. Now, on the show after last night that I popped on, I was just chatting on. They were kind of bagging on Vando a little bit. These are Laker fans, mind you, and I was just kind of like, what? What is there not to like about Jarred Vanderbilt? His contract is small. Compared to the modern NBA, it's very reasonable. And every year it's going to be even better. Every year it's going to get even better. He can't shoot the 3. Yeah, neither can Jalen Hood-Schifino. Most games these days, neither can Dalton Connect, and he doesn't play defense. So let's just call it how it is, people. Let's be real if we're going to be real. Anyway, we won't bag on those guys anymore. We've talked about the contributions Jarred Vanderbilt can make on the energy side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, and how his offense is basically gravy after that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this topic, though, El Rob.
Yeah, he's a player that winning teams need. They need guys who's going to bring the energy to uplift the level of intensity for the rest of the team, and who doesn't care about shooting, who doesn't care about stats. He just wants to go out there, hustle, wreak havoc for 20 minutes or however long he's on the court. So I don't get it. I don't know what's not to like.
I know.
Of course, in certain situations he can't. Certain situations he could get played off the court. But you know what? There's very few players that can do everything. So have a specialist, have one or two specialist guys who can do certain things, and he does. He's worked on his offense. He was hitting the corner three ball some before
last season.
Last year. So I mean, what has he played? He's been back 3 or 4 games or something. Come on,
which we're 3-0 in. Haven't lost a Vando game yet.
Yes,
I don't expect that to continue. Michael and I already talked about the two of those teams were pretty bad. The Hornets and the Sixers. Although we lost to the Sixers. I'm sorry, the Hornets and the Wizards. He didn't play in the 76ers game, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, people get upset about the losing to the Sixers. Hey, the Sixers have been playing decent, and it's not like
they lost by 2 points to a fully healthy Nuggets team last night. Almost pulled that one out.
The Sixers have been playing decent. I don't know. Maybe people haven't been paying attention.
Yeah,
I think that's.
Well.
I think that's
been very competitive for like the last 15 games or so, all in January, pretty much.
They've turned a corner, and I will say this: the Sixers play hard, they play fast, and they shoot a lot of threes. And those are things the Lakers, especially without Vando, don't defend or play. They don't rise to that level very easily. We want to play at our pace, which is methodical. We get out on the break. I'm not saying we don't get out on the break. That doesn't mean to say like we don't like to run or anything, but we don't play a frenetic brand of basketball. We play a very planned out brand of basketball. I'd like to welcome everybody in the chat, BTS Dance Studio, Daniel Berry Sports Highlight, Kurt Fair. Good morning, everybody. Another thing I want to bring up about Jarred Vanderbilt that I think is important is he's still on a minutes restriction. I don't know for how long he's going to be on a minutes restriction, but I also don't see him playing much more than a 25 minutes per game role on this team. I don't really see him closing games for the most part, unless it's like something where
we need to hold the lead.
We need to hold it. Right. We're like, we're sticking a flag in the sand and saying, rally around me, troops, but without AD, we're missing a lot of size. And I don't think any of us are under the illusion that Jackson Hayes is anywhere up to the task of being the starting center on almost any team that wants to win. And if that's the case, I wonder to what degree they maybe blow past that minutes restriction, or invest in see if he wants to play in back-to-backs. I'm sure he would love to play a lot in every single game. It's never a good idea to leave it up to the players, but I don't know. Is there a world where you can see them asking more of Vando, El Rob, or we'll start with however the Michael?
Yes. First, let me say, hey, Kurt, what's up? Thank you for the love.
That's right.
But yes. Once he, I would say in about 2 or 3 more games, once he's got about 5 or 6 games under his belt and he's in a good rhythm and his body's adjusted back to NBA actual games, yes, I don't, I think you absolutely need to play him more. Definitely. I mean, we need his size. We need the things we need his rebounding. We need his defense, all the things that AD brings to the table that's gone. We need somebody else to bring him, and he's one of the candidates. So yes, more minutes for Vando.
Michael, I got a question for you actually. Do you think there's a realm where we start to see a lineup that doesn't like one of the problems that has plagued the Lakers this season is the LeBron minutes, right? LeBron is still, I think, leading the team in negative rating, with the worst negative rating on the team. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame that all on LeBron. It's also because he happens to go in there with 4 other guys off the bench a lot of the time. And if Dalton Connect isn't hitting threes, then the LeBron Connect lineup is not going to work very well. It puts a lot onto a 40-year-old man's shoulders. And like I said, LeBron's 40. Our best player is a 40-year-old. That's not necessarily LeBron's fault. It's one of the reasons I'm sure he would love to see us trade for Zach LaVine. My question is there a lineup around him? Could you create a lineup around him with Christie, Vando, DFS, and AD or Hayes? And let's say it's time for AD to rest. Let's just say Hayes. Is that a lineup that can tread water?
Yeah, I don't know. part of it really depends on Dalton. I mean, our biggest issue with the second unit is they're one of the worst, if not the worst, scoring second units in basketball. And that is, I mean, defensively, we might be able to keep up a little bit, because we do have Vando, we have Finney Smith, can step in as the second unit and play solid defense. But LeBron, his defensive days are over.
Yeah,
for the most
that's
part.
why I kind of like the idea of surrounding him with like defense first guys who have a role.
I was thinking about you're going small kind of thing. We could trot out hypothetically 4, 6, 8 guys and
AD.
Well, no, not even AD. I mean, if we wanted to go small, if AD is not available or resting, we could trot out 4. We could trot out 4, 6, 8 guys, and Austin. And you've got Vando that can guard the backcourt. Then you've got Rui, and I think Rui does a little better job at center than AD does. I mean, than LeBron does. So you could have quite a big small lineup.
That's an interesting thought. I like that idea. I like the idea of going for a defense first lineup. I think the Lakers need to invest a little bit more in their defensive identity. We're still middle of the pack, end of the pack in transition defense, middle of the pack in defense in general. That's right, Polar Nights. We've got every stage of beard growth here on the show this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you're at. I'm going to say that El Rob is the one who's the most, he's probably the most.
He's neat and trimmed.
Yeah, I need to spend about an hour in the bathroom today and kind of clean this monster up. It's just I've been solo dad this whole week. My wife's been in Argentina since last weekend. And so I've just been trying to get through the days.
You're in survival mode. You get it.
I'm in total survival mode, man. And today I got to Saturday and I was like, I should clean the house. And I'm like, I'm gonna chill out for a couple hours. I just need to decompress.
One thing that you were bringing up about how poor our defense is. Yeah. From a statistical standpoint, our turnovers aren't that bad. But points off of turnovers, we're one of the worst teams in the league.
It's like a guaranteed bucket when we turn it over every time.
Yeah, and that has something to do with our defense. You keep, you look at LeBron and the Philly game, 8 turnovers, and I guarantee you 7 of them they scored off of.
Bad. And bad turnovers. Just they were how you look at the turnover, you go, what the F was he thinking about? What was that? It's like, oh my gosh.
In this day and age of analytics, you would think they would have stats on live ball turnovers versus dead ball turnovers, and then points off of individual players' turnovers.
I'm sure you could get it somewhere. I'm not that invested in the internet.
I agree with you guys. LeBron has a lot of live ball turnovers that lead directly. What do they call it? Some coaches call it turnovers to touchdowns. So
pick sixes. They're pick sixes. Yeah. They're pick six turnovers. Yeah, and that's. I mean, listen. I don't want to harp on the 40-year-old man who's defying every conventional notion we hold about professional sports. LeBron should not be playing as well as he's playing this season. It's not an arguable point. Like, I don't care what metric you choose to use. LeBron is playing great basketball. Yeah. The problem is that when he's on the floor without AD, and he's going to be on the floor without AD a lot, and especially when he's on the floor without Reeves, so much is put onto his plate that I don't begrudge him trying these ridiculous home run passes that have like a 2% chance of success, because if it works, everybody's going to be like, oh, it's a highlight play. What a wonderful pass. Da, 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 da. And when it doesn't, of course, he's going to take the heat, and he's fine with that, right? Of all the players on the team, he's totally fine with that heat. He can care less, but it does impact winning, and it impacts the rest of the team's like positivity. And so I wish, and I remember when I gave up on critiquing Kobe's shot attempts, like in year 9 of Kobe Bryant, where I was just like, you know what, dude, I got to just let it go. He's earned the right to shoot whatever dumb shot he chooses to shoot. Like that, he's proved he might make it.
Yeah. Another thing about LeBron as well.
That's where I'm at with LeBron's passes. I'm over it. I'm like, he's going to get 5 turnovers a game. It's guaranteed.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys out there, that are great offensive players that don't play defense. LeBron gets a lot of criticism for his defense these days, but you look at some of these scorers, they don't play a lick of defense. Yeah. And another thing, everybody wanted Fox, to trade to come to the Lakers. Let's trade for Fox. The guy has more turnovers than LeBron does, average wise. Yeah. So it's like, high volume, high usage players have more turnovers than low usage players do. So it's just part of being a high usage player. Now, could he get rid of 2 or 3 of those a game? Sure.
Right. But this is my point, right? This is my point about Kobe. Like, could he have taken 2 or 3 smarter shots or passed the ball? Of course he could have. And he knows that. He doesn't care. He's taken the shot. He's earned the right to do that, right? Like LeBron's been in the league for 4,000 years. He's earned the right to throw any dumb pass that he wants. And if we win because of it, we're all going to be happy. And if we lose because of it, we're all going to be like, oh, he should have, and that's our job. We're the fans. We don't know. We don't know Jack. I mean, we do. We're smart men. We're smart men here in this room. And I think most of our fans are smart people. My point is that there's a million things we can harp on. And LeBron is just going to make a couple of bad passes a game because he's making 40 passes a game. He's not going to make a perfect pass every time. And so the rest of the team needs to step up a little bit and be like, listen, old guy, we got you back. We're going to make a couple more shots. We're going to play a little better defense. We're going to rebound a little harder. And that brings me back to why I love Vando, because like El Rob said, he doesn't care if he's shooting. He doesn't care if he's scoring. He's going to play hard every minute he's out there. All right, let's move. We're mercifully only, 4 or 5 days away from the trading deadline.
Thank goodness.
I know. It's getting so wearying at this point, being I pity people who have to report the news these days, because you now just have to talk about absurdities.
Yeah. Hey, there was a crazy thing that a blockbuster today. Eubanks, right. Man. Shook the NBA world.
Oh, did Devin Eubanks get traded today? I know Obama did. So, oh my God,
that's what he got traded for. Eubanks.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Obama's going for every team in the league, and
he might get it.
And that brings us to a grand total of 4 trades this season.
I mean, listen, everybody's waiting to see what happens with Jimmy Butler. Everybody's waiting to see what happens with Bradley Beal.
And Fox.
Fox. I mean, I think the Kings are doing what Danny Ainge did, and I think what Chicago's done. Will listen to your trade offer. We are not actively trying to get rid of this player. We're not trying to ship this player out. And the only reason they're doing that is because they haven't come to an agreement on a contract extension. They have every reason to hope they can keep Fox. They can offer him more money, and they can offer him 1 more guaranteed year than any other team in the league. I don't know who doesn't like money on planet Earth, but if I'm De'Aaron Fox and I'm looking at the offers on the table this summer, and one has 4 years and one has 5 years and one has less money, and the other has
Jamie. He's got 1 more year.
That's what. Right. There's no. It's the same like with Walker Kessler in Utah. Like it's just a bunch of smoke, and I don't see the fire. And so whatever. Like he might get traded. Sure. I highly, highly doubt it. I don't see what Sacramento gets out of it unless they get like Trae Young. And isn't that just kind of a lateral at this point? Like a more expensive lateral for Utah's part? They're going to have to send out
Fox is a little better defender than Trae. Trae is not a good defender.
And Trae's a better shooter. Like, this is what I mean, though, right? Like, we're really mincing, like, superstars at this point. So, anyway, I will talk about Bronny James for 2 hours. Do you know what they talked about for 2 hours last night? Bronny James, the 55th pick in the draft. What other 55th pick in the draft are people talking about? The only one I came up with, Luis Scola. Luis Scola was the last 55th pick in the draft that made any waves in the NBA whatsoever. That's all I'm going to say about the 55th pick in the draft. Let him grow. Let him do what he's doing. He's doing great in the G League.
Good player.
Scola was great. He should have gone earlier. But he didn't. That's, whatever. But my point about Bronny is, dude's 55th pick in the draft. Let him play in the G League. When he plays at the high level, he's probably going to struggle against real NBA players. He generally does, except in garbage time. There's no surprise here. There's no like, oh, this terrible thing we did. It's not like the Jalen Hood-Schifino pick. That's terrible. That's something you should be a little bit upset about. And even then, I don't. Well, the guy can't stay on the courts.
Hood-Schifino, when he was able to play last year in the G League,
this year.
He has hardly played, Jamie. He's
I know.
He's been hurt. He's been hurt the whole year.
I know.
But when he played last year, he was much better than Bronny in the G League.
He should be. He's a first-round pick, and it's his second season. So, that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, let's not talk about these gentlemen. Jalen Hood-Schifino, get healthy. We would all love to see what you're capable of.
He's kind of hurt us in our trade efforts, because if he had been able to have played and even looked halfway decent in the G League, someone might have took a shot at him.
I know, but it's not happening, and so he'll get waived this summer because he's got a non-guaranteed contract for next season, so he'll be gone. All right, let's for a minute pretend we're all Laker Tom. So just for a minute. Which means everybody go get a very tiny Diet Coke. All right. So if I could trade for one player right now, I still think I would trade for Vucevic. I think that he does everything that AD wants him to do. And if we're going to make a trade at this point, I think you have to make a trade that makes Anthony Davis happy, because for lack of a better player, he's the player we're building around in the future. You can't build around – you really shouldn't continue to build around 40-year-old LeBron James, right? He's not going to be here for much longer in theory, although he thinks he can play till 50, and I wouldn't put it past him. Darren, I basically gave up alcohol at the beginning of last year, but, whatever. I drink coffee. It's delicious. I'm almost out. I might need to get more. Anyway, if you could make one player, if you could get one player on the Lakers, who would it be? Mine is still Vucevic. I think we also need a backup point guard, because I'm not sure that I want to rely on Shake. You can't, based on his talent level. And I just don't know that Gabe Vincent's going to be available. He just is in and out far too much. So I rank it in terms of, I really want for us to get a backup center, and I wouldn't mind us picking up another backup guard, even combo guard to back up Christie, because we don't have a lot of guard options after Reeves and Max. It's very thin at the guard after that. Your thoughts, gentlemen? Let's start with you, Michael, and we'll move to the center.
Well, let's see. My problem with Vucevic is that our primary problem when AD sits is lack of rim protection. And he does not do that. I mean, he's an offensive player. He's in 32, 33 now.
Yeah.
And I just, that $20-some million in contracts to get him. I would, if I was going to go for a center at this point that would give us some rebounding, give us some rim protection, and it's cheap, I would see if we can get Sharp. They tried to get him in the Finney-Smith deal, and they wouldn't send him. But I mean, he's not even a $4 million contract. We can cover that easy. Give up a second-round pick for him. So that, I mean, at this point, there's a lot of guys I would rather take than him, but I'm trying to stay in reality and not in trade machine land.
Well, yeah. Take anybody who makes more than 30 mil and just forget about it.
As far as now, if I were going to make a big move, I don't know what Danny would give him up for, but I like what's his name at Utah guard, Sexton. Yeah, he would be the perfect second string point guard for this team. The guy can make plays, but more importantly, he can bring offense. So, I mean, he would be the big trade. Sharp would be the little trade. I read an article today that they're actually wanting a second ball handler more than a backup center even. So I don't know how it's going to shake out. The biggest problem with this trade deadline is there's like 7 guys available, and 15 teams that need a guy, and it's like, unless there's people under the radar that nobody has mentioned that are actually available. I mean, it happens, I mean, we suddenly got D'Lo out of the blue. Nobody saw that coming. True. So it can happen, but it is really a tough, and that's what makes these trades so hard, is because everybody wants you to overpay. That's why if there's going to be a lot of activity, it's going to be the last day or two, where these other teams said, okay, nobody's going to meet this price, so I'll let them go for this price. But right now everybody's holding firm because they're waiting for people to be, to panic and say, okay, we're going to bite the bullet and we're going to overpay for that guy. That's what these teams are holding out for. So we'll see.
Yeah. So Pastoro. I don't think Kessler and Sexton is doable. We have 2 first rounders. Danny's not trading those 2 players for just our 2. He would trade Kessler for both our first rounders.
I don't even think you do that, Jamie. I don't even.
I tend to agree. I think we would need to give him every single pick that we have for the next 3 years, and they have Dalton. And maybe Dalton connect. Yeah, and there's just you're just not going to get one over on Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is like, I don't need to trade this guy.
He's their best player. He's their best young player.
He's a guy you go around.
He could be the foundation for their rebuild. And,
all right. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, and I mean, people keep saying, that it all got started because he had an off second season. And so Danny was talking over the summer and the early part of the year, but the guy's just been balling ever since.
And he's on his rookie deal for next season too. He's very cheap, so there's no reason for them to get rid of him. Rob, if you could get one player on the Lakers that obviously makes sense for us all, who would it be?
Well, I'm pretty much the anti-Laker Tom, so I don't follow the trade.
I know. You and I both. Every time I see him trade all these guys, I'm like, what? What?
Robert Williams, what's his deal? I mean, I know that's a big health risk, and he seems like he's always in and out of the lineup. But I think Portland would probably be more apt to be reasonable than obviously Danny's not going to deal with the Lakers fairly. But he provides the rim protection, he provides the defense, and the Lakers need guys who can put the ball in the hole. They need somebody who's going to do some of the other things. So I would kind of lean toward Robert Williams.
I think he's played most of this season. I'm checking right now.
He's only played like 14, 15 games all year.
Oh, well, that's great. Let's see. The last time he played,
he's been healthy recently, right? He's been
healthy the last week or so. So
he's been injured 3 times so far this year.
He's played in 17. He's played in about a little less than half the games. He's played in 17 games, and he's been solid when he has.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's got with his limited minutes. He's only playing. He's not even playing 18 minutes a game. He's kind of like Alonzo Ball.
Maybe Portland's seen enough. Maybe they got Aiden. They got the big fellow they drafted last year, with the number 1 with their first rounder. So
I think that you're right. I think the issue is that he's going to cost you $11 million. And so we would have to trade at least 2 players and probably a couple of second rounders. And the players that we would have to trade would probably be Max Christie and like Jalen Hood-Schifino or Christian Wood or somebody like that. Because I don't think you can put multiple vet minimum. I don't think you can put more than 1 vet minimum deal in a trade anymore, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, we can't. We can. For second apron guys can't.
So we can put 2. So we could put Cam.
We could put several. We could put
Cam. Well, we only have 2. If we could put Cam and Wood, and those are both $6 million. We're still like $2 million short. So it's just hard for us to. It's hard for us to.
I mean.
Kurt,
you could send Gabe, but then you'd be really up shit creek without another guard.
You got to keep Gabe.
You got to keep Gabe. You can't trade a guard for a big guy anymore, right? When you got rid of D'Lo, all guard for big man trades ended. This is funny, Kurt. Time Lord would help you transition defense, but Terry Rozier, I wouldn't bet on him. I feel bad for Terry Rozier. I hope he's not involved in any illegal betting schemes like Michael Porter Jr.'s less talented brother was and gets banned from the NBA, because that's just Terry Rozier can make money in the NBA. I don't know about Michael Porter's less talented brother, but like I don't know what his ceiling was, but Terry Rozier, that's a guy who can ball. And if your career gets ended because of something like this, buddy, there's ways to make money that aren't dumb. Be smart, people. Be smart. All right. I'm not saying betting is bad. I think Jonte Porter is not as good a name as Michael Porter Jr.'s less talented brother. Just be smart. Young men out there, be smart. Be smart with your money. Be smart with your money.
Can I add one more thing on Robert Williams?
Sure.
Everybody's always, everybody wants a center that can play with AD, and I'm sure he could. But with his minute restrictions,
it's like Lonzo Ball.
And you want to keep him healthy, just bring him off the bench 15, 20 minutes a game.
Sure.
And
that's what Portland's doing.
He would solve our rim protection on the non-AD minutes, and he could step in and start from time to time if AD was out.
I mean, none of us. We're all playing a game here. We're playing the Laker. I'm Laker Tom game, and Laker Tom has like 5 trades out there for either washed out players like Ben Simmons or guys on minute restrictions like Lonzo Ball and Robert Williams III, and all of them I say no to. All of them I'm like, this is just the worst trade you can make. You're taking a guy who can play 35 minutes a game for a guy who cannot play more than 20. That doesn't compute in my world. Like if you can't play, you're not worth being traded for, in my opinion. And that's why, people who don't like Jarred Vanderbilt or would prefer to see him including a trade, you're not going to get a lot from him this season. You're better off letting him play his way into some value this year and maybe a little bit into next, and then seeing where that ends up. But yes, Anthony, we all know that D'Lo was terrible in the playoffs. The point is that the Lakers have 2 guards that they can count on right now. Their names are Max Christie and Austin Reeves. Gabe Vincent can't stay on the floor. Jalen Hood-Schifino has been injured his entire career. And after that, you're talking about G-Leaguers. And we don't even have that good G-Leaguers on our team anymore.
We also have Shake. We also –
yeah.
You know something, though? This last game gave me some hope because
in garbage time?
He played the entire game. Yeah. He had 23 points, something like that.
Yeah, most of them were in garbage time, but yeah.
No, he was in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. He didn't.
I know he played. All right.
But here's the deal with him. He's looked hesitant. He's looked uncertain of himself, where he fits, the whole 9 yards. I've watched his career. There was a time where I wanted him for our bench a few years ago.
Well, he's here now.
He's been a quality player and is in a quality role player for most of his career. So what I'm hoping is that maybe this gives him a little more confidence. Maybe he becomes a little more comfortable.
Probably
and can become. I mean, JJ loved him. JJ played with him, and so that's what I'm hoping for. Because honestly, there's not a whole lot of other options out there for us. So let's hope for internal growth.
My hope is that they're kind of there. This is my hope, and I do believe this about the Laker training staff. I think they err on the side of caution. I think if they're not sure or something, they keep you out an extra week or month or
entire year in none
or case. Entire year in some people's cases, right? And you're just like, hey, and they're not loose with the truth, right? They're not like, hey, this is where this guy's at. They're like, we'll let you know next week, and it's like,
I think Kendrick Nunn holds the record for missing an entire year for a bone bruise.
I can't. Yeah. So trade Gabe for Bogdanovich is the new rumor. Well, which one? There's 2 Bogdanoviches, and I'm not much. Whoa, what just happened here? Whoa, everybody got booted off there for a second. I don't know what happened. We all went away for a second. Anyway, I don't know which Bogdanovich you mean. I'm not a huge fan of either one. They're great. They're fine.
Bogey.
Huh?
Atlanta's bogey is rumored to be on the market.
I mean, everybody on Atlanta is rumored to be on the market, and nobody ever gets traded.
Oh, but he's perfect because he's missed like 25 games.
Right.
Due to injury. So let's go get him.
I think they've lost 8 in a row or something. So I think this time some things are really going to be some shakeups are really coming.
I wouldn't be surprised if Clint Capella went somewhere. I hope. I don't know. I used to like Clint Capella. Now I just think he's probably on, you're getting the every year you're going to get the worst version of the player. He's on the downside of his career. I like guys like that. I like hustle guys. I like energy guys. That's why I'm a big fan of Vando. Don't stop everybody. We are not going to get Miles Turner. We're not going to get Walker Kessler. Just stop. Stop now. Stop now. Save the oxygen that you have in your life for other things. We're not getting those guys. Move on. It's as simple as that. It's not happening.
The thing, Jamie, that I think that Lakers, that is frustrating people like Laker Tom, is they're looking at these trades and they're saying, okay, does this trade elevate us into a true contender? And if the answer is no, they're not going to make the trade, because why make a trade to make us a little better? Why make a trade that will lose in the second round instead of the first round?
Sure.
I think that's the key to giving up. I would give up a pick for Walter Kessler, because he wouldn't make us a true contender, but he'd be a future piece that would
Correct.
be with the club. I think that's the criteria they're going by. They're looking for guys that'll be long-term pieces and not just
half a season rental.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Kessler could put the Lakers into making a contender.
I agree. I just don't think we can get him. I would love, and I said this when Laker Tom floated this idea for the last 19 months. Like, Walker Kessler's been on Laker Tom. Walker Kessler, Miles Turner, Robert Williams III for some reason, and always Lonzo Ball, even though he can't play, and Ben Simmons, even though he's, I don't know. Like, these 5 guys are on Laker Tom's radar all season, every season for like the last 3 years. And every year I have to be to myself, just let him ramble.
Buddy Hield used to have a spot on there too. I think Buddy got,
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. How could I have forgotten Buddy Hield? Who's
Marcus Smart this year.
Oh yeah. Oh, God, Marcus. I like Marcus Smart, but I don't want to trade Rui Hachimura for Marcus Smart. No. I don't want to trade Gabe Vincent.
He's been in decline, and he's another guy that hasn't been able to stay healthy for the last few years.
Well, and I think his soul was broken a little bit when he got traded to Memphis, and then the Boston won the title without him on the team. Yeah. I think that does something to your psyche a little bit because he was Mr. Celtic while he was there, right? Yeah. Like he was the locker room guy, he was all that stuff.
This tells you everything you need to know about Marcus Smart. They're looking for more perimeter defense. That's why they went after Finney Smith, and they have Marcus Smart. So what's that tell you about what they're thinking about Marcus Smart?
Well, he's been hurt since he got there. He's been dealing with this injury, that injury, that injury. He's been out with a hamstring, been out with an ankle, been out with all sorts of different injuries.
And that's why Laker Tom wants to trade for him.
One of the things I know. That's Ben. It's like he's trying to assemble the all washed up team with Marcus Smart, Ben Simmons, Robert Williams III, Lonzo Ball, and I forget the other one.
The whole injured team.
Yeah. I mean, listen. So one of the things people have been. I want to talk real quick about guys getting played off the court. And there's a difference in the regular season basketball than there is in playoffs. And in the playoffs, I think it's all matchups. People like to harp on this player or that player because they can get played off the court. And I think just about any player on the Lakers, other than AD and LeBron, can get played off the court. And we've seen it. We've seen it happen in playoff series. So with that in mind, there isn't much room for internal growth other than guys getting healthy, right? I think we know what all these guys are bringing to the table at this point. I think Max maybe has a little more to show us, possibly. And I'd like to go on record as saying I maybe misjudged some of Max Christie's talent at the beginning of the year. I think he's shown me that he's taken up the mantle of defender, and he's starting to hit the corner three, and he's starting to fill that role of a 3-and-D shooting guard.
Rui's taken a big step this year. His defense has become pretty good, and his offense has been better.
Yeah,
and when he has touches, he can score. I mean, when you give him 13 to 15 touches, he's going to give you 18 to 20 points. That's what he's done all year. You give him 6 touches, and he's going to give you 9 points.
That's true. Rob, what do you think?
I think, Connect can certainly. He's a rookie, so he can certainly get better. Gabe, I don't think Gabe. I think his footing is still trying to I mean, that's it's incremental because he's been so bad for so long. Just him getting to that decent level and maintaining that decent level. I mean, he just started making shots. What, a month
2,
ago?
3 games. Yeah. A couple
Yeah.
weeks ago.
So I mean, that's something we didn't have.
Yeah.
Of course, Vando. So yeah, no, we got guys who can get better.
That's what I'm saying. I think that. I mean, I know some people love trades. I don't like trades. I think that one of the things that if you're a fan of basketball history, sport history in general, you don't just trade for chemistry. You don't trade for like team building. Like you can't when you're doing these trades over and over and over, you're just looking at stats on a weird little box and going like, oh, well, this stat is better than this stat, so this guy must be better than this guy. And I don't think that that's how anything works in reality. I think that you're taking a snapshot of a person on one team and you're switching it with a snapshot of a person on our team, and there's no guarantee. There's actually no logical reason to believe that you'll just whoop this player onto our team and suddenly
somebody scoring 25 points a game on another team. They come to play with us. They'll score 20.
Oh, somehow I see this. I don't know. We all got kicked off, and now it changed my name back to Joe's name. Sorry, Joe. I know you're not me, and I'm now. There we go. Thank you, Kurt. We all got kicked off like a couple minutes ago. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, I don't, and I know. I think Rob, you're kind of like me. You would rather see, and Michael, I think you're probably a little more like me. I think you're not a huge opponent of trades. I think you're a fan of smart trades. I would just prefer let's just roll with what we got, man. And like if you're gonna make a move, make it in the summer, right? Make it in the summer so that the coach and everybody's got a chance to get to know each other, be a part of training camp, build the team up from the beginning. Mid-season trades almost never work.
And you also
work as advertised.
And you have to stack a bunch of contracts to get stuff done.
Or not. I mean, depending on the players, but it just never seems to like.
Well, not only that, but then you got to fill those holes, and you have no money to fill them with because you've maxed out your. So yeah.
But now our midseason trade a couple of years ago did a nice run after that.
But that was because of one of the worst moves made in the summer ever. Like, and I love Russell Westbrook. And I don't even think Russell was the problem on that Lakers team. I actually think Darvin Ham had no clue how to use a player like Russell Westbrook, and that LeBron James didn't do a great job of saying, you know what, Russ, you be you, and I'll play off you a little bit more. And and that just never happened. I don't think
Russ accepted nobody.
So. Yeah, you look at how
yeah, that's true. Elron's right. Nobody accepted anything that those 2 seasons. They were all like, I'm going to play, and that it wasn't working.
That you look at Westbrook now with the Joker, those guys are just have such a chemistry together, because they're letting Russ be Russ, and yeah, you're right. He was used wrong, but they also gave up way too much to get the opportunity to use him wrong.
And I agree. And like, it's not like Kyle Kuzma's gone to Washington and turned them into a winner. Quite the opposite, really. But, and like, who knows what Washington's trying to do right now? I mean, it's mildly mystifying to me. I'm assuming they're just trying to get Cooper Flagg and then open for the best after that. But I just don't understand. Sometimes I don't understand the mentality behind people in their manic trading. Anyway, point being,
anybody's been around a while remembers Kwame Brown for Paul Gasol. Everybody remembers that, and that's it.
And it worked great because Powell wanted to be the second fiddle. He wanted to not be the guy so bad, and then he found the perfect person who was like, "Don't worry, bro, I got you. I'll shoot all the shots. You do everything else, and you'll shoot some shots too. Don't worry, I'll get you the ball. You'll shoot at least 12 shots a game."
People expect you to be able to get something great for nothing. That's like one of the few times that's ever happened.
Yeah, but that's I think that's a misconception, Michael, because Memphis got a lot. Memphis they parlayed those picks, and of course they got
Marcus Gasol was great.
A long run for a long time. So no, that was a pretty fair trade.
I think it was a fair trade. I think in the moment. When I think especially Greg Popovich, who obviously wanted to beat the Lakers. I think he was the most vocal anti-Pau Gasol Lakers trade because he wanted Pau Gasol. That's what it is.
It was basically
jealous.
Marc Gasol that
they
made the deal.
used that money to get Zach too. They used that money they saved with the trade to get Zach Randolph.
And that's right. And they also got a bunch of draft picks in that, and that all became pretty good players.
They parlayed that very well.
No, I disagree. I also will forever disagree, even though I wasn't in favor, that the Gasol and Lamar trade for Chris Paul was unfair. I thought that was a very fair deal. I actually think the Lakers gave up too much because you generally don't trade 2 7-footers for 1 5'9" or however tall Chris Paul really is. But like, I just never would have. I would have never made that trade. I would have been like, you could have one of those 2 guys, but you're going to have to take Ron Artest or somebody else, and not Lamar or not Powell. Point being, never. Then NBA came in and blew that all up. But anyway, that's way in the past. Let's talk about tonight's game or today's game, depending on where your time zone is.
This afternoon's game.
This afternoon's game for Michael. I think it's this evening's game for El Rob, and it's early evening's game for me. The Knicks are great right now.
They're rolling.
They're one of the best teams in the East. They're getting it done on both ends. Cat's fitting in great. Minnesota looks foolish for making this deal. Even though they're not terrible this year, they're not where they were last year. And I just feel like Minnesota is still trying to find its new version of itself. And New York already has. Maybe that's the coaches. Maybe that's the players just deciding to sacrifice a little bit for one another. All of the above a little bit. El Rob, your thoughts on tonight's game?
Ooh, boy. Knicks, I wish we'd have caught them when they were struggling a little bit. They've been playing much better of late. The Garden is the Garden, so when Lakers come to town, everybody heightens their game. So, I just want the Lakers to be competitive, give themselves a chance. LeBron will be ready to roll. We know LeBron likes the big lights, so I'm hoping for competitive, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got shut down pretty easily.
Michael?
Well, yeah, it's a shame that we're missing AD for this game because AD usually dominates Cat. I mean, traditionally, he's always dominated him. And we're one of the few teams that they're going to face that has somebody that can dominate Cat. So it's a shame. To me, our competitiveness tonight is going to depend on a couple of things. And it's going to be Finney Smith and Gabe's availability. Yeah, to play some solid defense on the perimeter, because we're going to get killed inside. So if Gabe's are available and if Finney Smith is available, we're still going to lose. But
let me get it straight. Nobody's predicting a win today.
Yeah, but well, you know what though? I mean, we've seen it before with us. We've seen it around the league. We've seen it all the time.
Right.
When a team comes in, plays a team that their best player is out, got players out, sometimes they relax. And you see that happen. We've relaxed a few times. We've seen other teams around the league relax and lose to teams they shouldn't have lost to. So you never know for sure. It is the NBA and they're all pros, but the odds aren't looking good.
We'll need a great shooting game from Christie and all these other guys and connect. And we need guys. If those guys are shooting it good, then hey,
like I said, if we have our best perimeter defenders all available, we're still going to be vulnerable inside, but at least we'll be better on the perimeter.
Here's my prediction: if we keep the turnovers under 10 and we limit the Knicks to fewer than 8 offensive rebounds, we'll be in the game. We'll be in the game if we can play a clean game of basketball and if we hit the glass. And that's the only hope. If we have another one of those 20, 17, 18, 19, 20 turnover games that leads to 5,000, fast break points, it's over. It's over. I agree with you. I don't see a Laker win happening today. I would like for a Laker win, put Vando and Cat. I don't think, no, that's, I mean, you know what? If Cat's content to play on the perimeter, then yes. If Cat's trying to actually take the ball inside and score, that's a different. Then I think you got to put Hayes or even Hachimura on him. Hachimura's got a much better foundation. He's got he's a solid rock down there.
He's strong.
He's strong. He's strong in the post, and he knows how to use his body, his leverage to defend against bigger guys in the paint. I don't know that. I think Game 4 of Vando playing, if he's playing, I think he is. I haven't heard one way with the injury. The availability report won't come out for like another hour, a couple hours or so. And there are people saying there's all these rumors swirling around about this trade or that trade. Whatever. I'm calling it now. No trades today, which the last time I did, they traded somebody 2 hours later. So that's what we're going for now.
We might see that. We might see some minutes from the what's the new guy's name? The new center we picked.
Trey Simeon.
Yeah. We might see some minutes from him too. He has a big body.
He's got a big body, and I like
six fouls.
That guy
has a big body and 6 fouls.
And I like the dog of that guy. That guy plays with a chip on his shoulder that I appreciate. He's got a little bit of what I call a IDGF. I don't give a. You fill in the blank.
Yeah.
At any rate, I think if Connect gets hot, we can beat anyone.
No.
You guys, I'm sorry. I like the potential. I really like the potential that is Dalton Connect. I am now of the opinion he should be playing as much in the G League as he is at the NBA level. If you want him to have, I think that you need to get him reps in the G League if you want him to be a playoff factor. I think you really need to build his confidence back up. I think that he has hit a mental wall of some sort because he is riding high on that first 6 weeks, 7 weeks of the season in terms of his 3-point percentage. If you go look at his splits by game, he hasn't made – it's everything about his game is just completely down from the
last couple of weeks. He's been shooting over 50% from 3. So
yeah, but it's not at the volume that everybody wants. Yes, but a lot of that's in garbage time. The game against last night where we blew out who did we blow out? I forget now. The Nugget, no,
Washington.
Thank you. When we blew out, he had like 4 threes in garbage time. I was like, right, but you're just padding numbers at this point. I think that when the game is on the line, his offense is still not overcoming his lack of defense when the game matters for me. And that's not to say that he's not NBA material. I think he has a great future in the league. I think that for this season, we're seeing what his ceiling is, and it's as a role player. And probably could use more time in the G League to get himself into the kind of player that we want him to see. Everybody's kind of harping on Gabe Vincent. He hasn't played. That I agree with. When he's played, I disagree. I think he's actually been okay.
Defensively, he's been fine most of the year.
He's been okay. And when people say he's got one of the worst defensive ratings on the team, let's see who he's playing with on the floor at the same time. Because if he's sharing the floor with Anthony Davis, okay, that's a problem. But if he's sharing the floor with Jackson Hayes or Christian Koloko, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe he's doing his job, and the guy at the rim is like, oh, and I couldn't block the shot because I was looking at this person in the stands or thinking about popcorn or whatever. So, let's take all this with a grain of salt. I think none of us are predicting a runaway victory. I think we're all hoping for a tough competitive game tonight. I'd like to thank L-Rob. I'd like to thank L-Rob's hat, which looks fantastic. What are you up to? You got a whole outfit going on. Are you going somewhere? Like, what's going on?
No, actually, I'm chilling. I was out a little early. I'm just getting ready to watch Spartans and the Trojans play and catch the Lakers. So I got some hoops.
You got a nice docket ahead of you. You got a nice docket. I'm going to start cleaning up the house here before the wife comes home from Argentina. So
it will be wise.
Oh,
yeah. How long has she been gone?
Tomorrow will be the 9th day.
Have you cleaned once since she's been gone?
Yes. I'm not a sty man. I don't like to live in a sty. But I have a 7-year-old, and 7-year-olds like to take something and then put it on the ground and then walk away and then take another thing and then put it on there. And then you've kind of built this whole little world of small toys everywhere. And that's what we're going to tackle today. And some laundry and probably change the sheets on them. We don't need to get into those details. So that's not what this show's about. I'll start another podcast as what's Jamie doing today? Nobody will watch it. And that's about right. That should be about the level of viewership I get on my day-to-day. At any rate, you guys, let's stop arguing in the chat. Last thing I'm going to say, stop asking LeBron James to take a pay cut. You wouldn't take a pay cut. Stop asking other people to take a pay cut. All right. That's it. It's really just as simple as that. Everybody likes to say, like, oh, this guy should take a pay cut. Would you take a pay cut? Absolutely not. And that's why. And that is why, my friends. So anyway, Kurt, thank you. I'd have a viewer of one. I'll watch what's Jamie doing today. It would be really boring, man. It'd be a lot of working with computers, maybe a little Dungeons and Dragons or who knows what. At any rate, I'd like to thank El Rob and Michael H. for coming on today and the entire Lakerholics chat, the Laker Fast Break chat, Laker Fast Break team, and everybody over at Lakerholics.com. I hope that a trade happens, if not for anybody but DJ24 or DJ KB24, who's really pining for us to get some superstar for a bunch of scuttlebutt. And I'm sorry, DJ, it's not going to happen, but I'm pulling for you. How about that? It's not going to happen, but
keep hope alive.
That's right. Keep hope alive. That's one of my favorite bits from In Living Color when they wheeled out that Bob Hope in the cryogenic tube, and it was good stuff. Anyway, simpler times. All right, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great Saturday afternoon.
Aloha.
Peace.